Hi, Democrats. I'm back. Today is Friday, May 28th. First of all, I want to start out by saying thank you to Scott Hamilton for stepping in for me. A lot of stuff is going on, and I keep finding myself not available at 4:15. So thanks, Scott. Got a lot to talk about today. There's so much going on as we end May and move into June. We're getting Happy Friday to you as well. We're getting there's a lot going on, right? So let me say this. I've been talking to you about bills, elected officials, and elections. Those are the three things I wanted to talk about every day. Yesterday was sine die, meaning the end of legislative session. And so our conversations are going to have to change to stay up with the time. And so we won't necessarily be talking about bills because session is over, so we won't be talking about bills, but we'll work something else in there. We will continue to talk about electeds. We will eventually move into talking about interim studies, so you know the bills that our elected officials are considering bringing up in the next cycle, and that will help you as you interact with your electeds while they're in district, right? So before they have to go into special session, because they will be going into special session in the fall because of redistricting. Long story, and we'll talk more about that later. So one of the last things that happened yesterday, well, first of all, if you live in Oklahoma, not necessarily living in Tulsa, but if you live in Oklahoma, you are aware that we are in the middle of commemorating a middle of events that commemorate and mark the centennial of the 1921 Tulsa Race Massacre. And so there have been a lot of educational opportunities this week, a lot of listen and learns, right? There's one about tech. There are several that talk about specific history and, newspapers of the time and, spoken word from the time. And there are art exhibits, and there's a lot of educational opportunities that have been happening in the week or so leading up, book signings and conversations with folks who have written books and those kinds of things. And I went to the march, the Legacy Festival march today, and I ran into a lot of fellow Democrats. One notable Republican who insisted on stopping me and talking to me about some stuff, which is kind of interesting. But, I always talk about, in order for us to learn, we have to be curious. And people are really frustrated about the John Legend Stacey Abrams event, and I'll get to that. But the thing that I've been saying to people, be more curious. Don't just think you know. Don't think that you don't care. Don't think that the stuff going around is not important. Be more curious and ask some questions about why. And I say that, the staff at ODP knows that I say it, when someone says this isn't working, my thing is ask one more question. Why isn't it working? Is it plugged up? Do you know how to use it? Why isn't it working? So I just ask Dems to be more curious. Don't take the first thing that's told to you. All of the gossip that I saw on Facebook yesterday about the Abrams Legend event and gossip I saw today, it was shocking. I'll just say that it was just shocking, the gossip and speculation, and none of that doesn't help anything. Okay. So I'm just going to say, be more curious, ask more questions, ask one more question until you fully have a full story. So I'm going to talk a lot about the race massacre commemoration today because I'm not going to be live on Monday, and it'll basically be over, and we'll be talking about Juneteenth, and we'll be talking about Pride and state convention. And so I want to talk about, all the things that are coming up. Let's see, how do I want to talk about it? Let's talk about elected officials. So first, I want to highlight Senator Elizabeth Warren and Representative Sheila Jackson Lee one more time for leading the initiative to acknowledge the race massacre as a real thing. And they had 127 other legislators sign off on it. And that's a big thing. You have to acknowledge a thing in order to get over it, in order to deal with it. So I just want to, I want to start out with the positive and say thank you for that. Then I'm going to move on and bring it a little bit more locally and talk about Senator James Langford. There's so much to talk about that I could be here for an hour, but I know y'all aren't here for an hour, so I'm going to make it quickly. So today, it was in the paper that Senator Langford stepped down from the 1921 Race Massacre Commemoration Commission. Really? You stepped down today? Who cares? Who cares? Why? What? Ugh. So he stepped down today. There have been calls for him to step down for a year. And then when he got prepared to not certify the electors, there was a call for him to step down. And then when he went out making all those statements and, trying to invalidate voters from different states, there were calls for him to step down, and he didn't. And now that the commemoration weekend is in effect and happening now, and they've had a misstep, now he's stepping away. I'm not going to call him a coward. You guys think what you want to think. So there's that. And then today, right, the Senate Republicans, U.S. Senate Republicans, voted against setting up a commission to investigate the incident of January 6th. I hate calling it an incident because, to my mind, it is and will always be the insurrection of January 6th. So they voted against it. It did not pass. And be clear, our Senator James Langford voted against it. Our other senator didn't vote. Yay, Oklahoma's being represented so poorly on the national stage. Senator Langford put out a statement wherein he said that the Senate Republicans had already done an investigation, a thorough investigation into January 6th, and they've already come up with their conclusions, and they didn't need the fanfare and the publicity. And apparently they didn't need a resolution or any transparency. Hey, Senator Langford, you represent us. You represent Oklahoma, and you represent Americans, and 69% of Americans want the commission. They want the commission. We need to know what happened. You guys have heard me say this. You've heard half the world say this. If we don't learn from our mistakes, our past, we are doomed to repeat it. It's our third insurrection, right? Since we've been a nation. I never thought I'd see one in my lifetime. No, Christina, Langford isn't just catering to his wealthy donors. He's also catering to the extremists on the right. He knows he has a primary election coming up, right? They've pitted, a super Trumper against him on his side. And he's trying to make sure that they know, I support the big lie too. He doesn't want to lose the extremists on the Republican side. It's not just the donors. It's also the extremists, all the people who are saying, get over it. And that's what I want to come back to towards the end. All the people who are saying, get over it. Here's what I believe, and I've said it about different topics, and I'll say it about this. You can't have reconciliation without accountability. Can't have reconciliation without accountability. We can't say, yes, there were a bunch of people who broke into the Capitol and tried to overthrow our government. Get over it. I mean, I guess we can say that, but I don't think that that's wise. Just like you can't say, yes, the city was complicit in destroying Greenwood. The city was complicit. All accounts say so. The city was complicit. Oh, well, that happened a long time ago. What do y'all want us to do about it now? So they didn't just destroy Greenwood, but people had insurance because these were people who had their lives together. They had insurance. And because the information was hidden, insurance company said, you don't have any information, so we can't honor your claim. So not only was it destroyed, but the rebuild was made even more difficult. They rebuilt. They rebuilt a couple of times. And then they came in with urban renewal and put in a highway right in the middle to ensure destruction. If we don't own that, if we don't honor that that is a thing that happened, we can't ever reconcile. All attempts at reconciliation will be false. And we just have to say it. And I know that everybody, I went to the march today. And I was so glad to see my Democrat friends because I haven't been able to be out in a while. I was so glad to be in the presence of the survivors and to hear them finally getting their just due, or at least getting their voices heard locally. There were a lot of things, and it partially felt celebratory. But I have to remind everyone, it's not a celebration; it's a commemoration. We don't celebrate a crime, and it for sure was a crime. So let's be very clear. Let's stop rushing to get over things. Let's stop saying, yeah, it happened, but let's move on. And frankly, that's what happened to the Legend Abram event. If you're not acknowledging the survivors, if you're not acknowledging that it happened to real people and not just words in a book, you're just celebrating. You just found another reason to have a concert. We're better than that. Surely, please. And if we're not, let's strive to be better than that. I'm going to end with that on the commemoration. I don't want to be such a downer before we go into Memorial Day and my grandmother's birthday. Ask one more question. Just be more curious. This is a great weekend to learn more about our history, and it's a good thing to do. So before I wrap up, I want to remind you of a couple of things. State question 816, sine die has happened. Sine die has happened, which means we can start getting signatures for state question 816. Contact your county offices and see if they've gotten petitions yet, because they've started putting the petitions out. And if you want to be involved, go out. They have a Facebook page. Sign up to be trained and get some petitions in your hand. We need over 60,000 signatures. We're shooting for between 80 and 100, so that if we have any invalid signatures, that's not a reason why it doesn't count. The referendum is out. We need 60,000 signatures. We can do this. We need Oklahoma to not be in the embarrassing state that has a law in the books that says you can run over protesters, right? That's state question 816. Additionally, I'm going to be on Flashpoint this Sunday. If you're in the Oklahoma City area, check that out. This Sunday, I will be on Flashpoint talking about the race massacre and the need for reparations for the survivors. And I won't be here on Monday. So the next time I see you, I will have met the president. All righty, you guys have a great weekend, and I'll see you on Tuesday.